country remains in a financial downdraft. New numbers
the
are
Big Three in Detroit
Millions
are on
of
the brink of bankruptcy. We're live at the state capitol where
New
lawmakers
information is out and more have fallen into foreclosure. Now the question is, when
It's
will the
happening
housing
again.
market bounce?
Executives of another company are in trouble tonight using bailout money for bonuses. Americans are outraged in Congress.
Need to see me?
Yeah.
What's up?
Big John, you've been here a long time. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, buddy. I gotta let you go. You knew it was coming. I did everything I could, though, John.
Ernie, I know you done all you could. It's gonna be hard to tell Evelyn. I've been here 30 years.
Anything you need, I don't care what it is. You call me any time of day. It don't matter.
I know.
That, he's gonna have to walk you out, John. I'm sorry. It's policy.
I know. It's just policy.
Most all of his life he's been working here in the real world. They're shutting the Zion power plant down. He's been working there most all of his life. Pardon me if I don't shed a tear. Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. And he's been working most all of his life there. Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. They're tearing it down. Most all of his life, he's been working there. Pardon me if I don't shed a tear. Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. He's been working most all of his life there. He has been running the power to the city for most all of his life. Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. Most all of his life, he's been working there ever since day one. Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. Here in the real world, they're shutting the nuclear power plant down. He's been working there most all of his life. They demolished it just last year in November. That building has been torn down.
It's the largest closing of a nuclear plant in the United States, and it's right in our backyard.
The most critical and dangerous part of the process at Zion is underway right now with the transfer of used nuclear fuel. Jim Williams is the only local television reporter allowed inside to see firsthand what's going on and to get answers to concerns about safety in this original report.
So right now you're at 0.04.
For us, it was a first. An interview right next to a worker holding a radiation detector.
And you're making sure that we're safe. Correct. So right now, practically nothing.
You have to be this careful when crews are moving 1,500 tons of nuclear waste out of the old Zion ComEd plant on the shores of Lake Michigan.
The idea is to decontaminate, clean, remove.
John Sauger is managing the biggest closure of a nuclear plant in U.S. history.
So these are brand new?
Yep.
The plant stopped operating 16 years ago, but what was left behind is so toxic, robots were brought in.
You want to get it out quick, and you want to use equipment to do it. You don't want to have men in there using hand tools and torches.
By train and truck, they're shipping the less hazardous material to Texas, Tennessee, and Utah, where it'll be buried.
We have filters, rags, mops, things of that nature that have been in contact with radiated material and might be contaminated.
But spent nuclear fuel that had been in this cooling pool is being placed in steel cylinders called casks.
Each can has a custom-made cover. You can see they're rather robust.
Then encased in concrete.
We call this the nuclear bowling alley.
Because, says Dave Kraft of a nuclear watchdog group, all 65 casks will end up here, together, above ground, next to the old plant. Kraft fears they could be a prime target for terrorists in a plane.
If you have a huge fuel fire from a burning airliner, for example, it's going to affect everything around.
Kraft and Paul Koukouris of the Dunelands Preservation Society worry the casks could break open, releasing radiation across the Chicago area, poisoning the lake.
We are at risk here. This is the water supply for 20 million people.
Those fears are not justified, according to John Sauger.
What happens if a plane were to crash over there?
If it's a big enough airplane, one of the engines may penetrate the concrete, but not the steel liner.
Today, the casts are surrounded by high fences and razor wire. Heavily armed security guards are everywhere here. Still, those measures are not enough to allay fears.
The point is, you're only going to get one chance to be wrong.
Another safety concern, how will those steel and concrete casts hold up over time before a permanent storage site is created? The Nuclear Regulatory Commission expects them to be replaced in 100 years, but environmentalists fear those casts may wind up sitting there next to Lake Michigan for much longer than that. Bob and Kate?
You can understand the fear. It all seems very precarious. How strong are those cylinders, and how long will they last?
Each one 150 tons, said to be able to withstand 360-mile-an-hour winds, missiles, fires, earthquakes.
All right.
Here in the real world, they're shutting the Zion plant down. They're demolitioning that. Take that plant down. Boom, as the crane comes in. Here in the real world, they're shutting that plant down.